joining me today as we make a basic muffin recipe. And I am going to take that basic muffin recipe today and make it into a streusel muffin. But maybe you want to add blueberries or eat it plain or add chocolate chips or some other fruit that you've picked. So it's very versatile and you can really do anything you would like to with it. And I'm such a fan of cinnamon, so I'm making streusel today. So to do the streusel topping, we're going to start by putting 3 tablespoons of cut up butter in a bowl. If you can't tolerate butter, you could use ghee, you could use a palm shortening, you could even use avocado oil. I would recommend maybe cutting back if you're using like an avocado oil to maybe about 2 tablespoons or so. And to the butter, we will add 1 tablespoon of tapioca starch, 2.5 tablespoons of monk fruit, and you certainly could change that up if you wanted and do honey or coconut sugar, something like that. If you do the honey, your streusel will be a little more liquidy than it would be by using the monk fruit. So you might want to increase the tapioca starch and the finely ground nuts. I am adding a half a cup of finely ground pecans. So if you were using honey, you might want to increase that to maybe 3/4 of a cup and maybe use anywhere from 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of the tapioca starch. And I am using 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. You could use less. I like the cinnamon. It's such a wonderful flavor and I'm very fond of it. So, but you could cut it back to a teaspoon if you're not as fond or you don't care for it so much. You could even omit it and not make a streusel muffin at all, but I like them. So here we go. We're just going to mix this together. Now that our cinnamon streusel mixture is all set, it's just kind of crumbly a bit there. We're going to set this aside. And we're going to work on our dry ingredients. And I have in the bowl already 3/4 of a cup of coconut flour. To the coconut flour, we will add a half a cup of sweet potato starch. You could also use potato starch, but make sure it is starch, not flour. Unlike tapioca starch, which depending on the brand you buy, it may be labeled tapioca starch, tapioca flour. Potato starch and sweet potato starch are very different than sweet potato or potato flour, so do make sure it's the starch. And we have a half a cup of tapioca starch or flour, whichever brand you happen to have. 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar. And if you do not want to use cream of tartar and baking soda, you can take both of them out of the recipe and substitute with 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So we're just going to whisk these ingredients together. So our dry ingredients are whisked together. We're just going to set that aside. And now you want to take the bowl of your stand mixer. Mine has 3 eggs in it already. So we're going to start with 3 eggs. And to this we are going to add a half a cup of, I'm using coconut milk. If you can tolerate regular milk, you could certainly use regular milk. And I have a 1/4 cup of monk fruit, my preferred sweetener, you know. You certainly could substitute with some honey, some coconut sugar, and whenever you're using honey or coconut sugar in place of my monk fruit, you may need to increase it a little. I find monk fruit very sweet and I cut back more than you may like. So you may need to just increase a little bit at a time to find what works for you. And I have 3/4 of a cup of avocado oil. You could certainly use butter or palm shortening if that's your preference. And then you're going to put it on your stand mixer with the whisk. Turn it on and mix it until it's incorporated well. And you can see this is mixed all up nice. And now we're going to put it back on the stand mixer. And we're going to put the mixer on low and slowly add the dry ingredients to the mixer while it's running on low. And once they're all incorporated, you can then turn the mixer up to medium and beat it for a little bit, for a minute or so, just until it's good and mixed. My muffin batter is done. We can take it off of the mixer. It's nice and smooth, fully incorporated. Looks like muffin dough. So now we want to take a muffin tin and line it with a muffin liner. I like to use the parchment muffin cups, and then we will spoon the batter into the muffin. So I'll go ahead and fill these and then we'll zoom back around. Now that our muffin tin is full of the batter, we can now take our streusel and just sprinkle it on top of our muffins. And I will continue to sprinkle on top of them, and I'll flip it around and let you see when I'm done. And then we'll pop them in the oven. Now that the muffins are ready to go in our oven, it is preheated at 350 degrees, and we will bake the muffins for about 20 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Okay? My timer just went off. It's been 20 minutes, and let's take a peek and see if these muffins are done, shall we? Gonna poke a toothpick in. Ooh, no crumbs. Let's try another one. Oh, perfect. Okay, so the muffins, we tested them and they're done. So we're gonna put them on a cooling rack to cool, and when you can handle them, you can remove them from the muffin tray and let them cool before you eat them. I mean, you can eat them warm, but let them cool slightly so that you're not burning yourself. Okay, and we'll catch you back in a minute. So the muffins have cooled slightly, so I like to have them warm, and I'm just gonna open one up and take a bite, and let's see how they came out today. Perfect. I love the cinnaminess with the streusel. So yummy. But these muffins are great plain too, or you just want a plain muffin maybe to accompany a meal, a bowl of soup, or whatever you're having. To add anything you'd like, maybe some mashed banana in place of the monk fruit, or some chopped apple and some nutmeg and cinnamon. The possibilities are endless. I'd love to see what creations you make with your muffins, send them to us at info@killinglypl.org. And have a great day.